Okay, good morning to everyone joining from Asia. Good morning. For those joining from elsewhere, good afternoon and good evening. My name is Anjali Acharya, and I work on marine plastics issues for the World Bank in the East Asia and Pacific region, and I will be the MC for this event today. Some basic housekeeping rules. If you cannot hear the event, select audio settings and choose your preferred audio output. Microphones will be muted for the duration of the event. The chat option will be disabled. To let everyone know, this event will be recorded, and once the event concludes, select the leave button to exit. Today is a historic day on the release of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for Combating Marine Debris. We have high-level remarks from the ASEAN, the World Bank, and Thailand, as well as high-level speakers from several ASEAN sectoral bodies, permanent representatives to the ASEAN, and dialogue and development partners. We have hundreds of people joining via the Zoom platform, and the event is also being live streamed on the ASEAN and World Bank websites, so many more can join. With that, we will first start with a ceremonial photo of all the speakers. I would like to ask the speakers to turn on your videos, please. I'm hoping we are done. Thank you. We are now very honored to have Excellency Dato Lim Jok Hoi, Secretary General of the ASEAN, to provide welcoming remarks. Excellency.
Excellency Vera Wood, Chilpa Acha, Ministers of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, Ms. Victoria Quakwa, World Bank's Regional Vice President of East Asia and the Pacific, representative of ASEAN sectoral bodies, members of the Committee of Permanent Representative to ASEAN, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning, good afternoon, and evening. I'm very pleased to welcome you all to the launching of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris in ASEAN member states. Today marks a significant milestone as we continue our collaborative pursuit in battling the issue of marine plastic waste. I also wish to congratulate the Royal Government of Thailand, particularly His Excellency Verawut Silpa Archa, for taking the lead in a very important initiative. Thailand's leadership in strengthening ASEAN cooperation to tackle the issue of marine debris is indeed commendable. At the same time, this effort would not be possible with a strong support of our development partners. Especially, I appreciate and thank the valuable support of the World Bank through True Blue initiative in making this endeavor a reality. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to emphasize the importance of conserving and sustainably managing our shared ocean resources. Ocean-based industries and resources are key drivers to economic growth, especially for our coastal community. Our sea and coastal coasts are vital to our life and livelihoods. However, our oceans are under immense pressure, especially due to marine plastic pollution, which has the potential to damage human health as well as disseminate the tourism and fishing industry that are vital to the region's economies. In particular, the volume of solid waste generated across Southeast Asia rapidly increased in recent years. Moreover, about 53% of this waste in ASEAN remains uncollected. Recent estimates also suggest that 80% of marine debris are plastic waste. Alarmingly, similar studies highlight that there will be more plastic in fish than fish in our ocean by 2050. The ongoing pandemic further compounds this complex issue. COVID-19 is magnifying the existing threat of plastic in our ocean due to the indiscriminate disposal of waste, including personal protective equipment such as face masks and face shields. These circumstances further highlights the necessity for us to institute long-term solutions as the amount of plastics entering our marine environment is set to increase 10 times by 2025. Marine plastic debris will not only pollute our waterways and endanger marine biodiversity, but may also pose potential health risks due to microplastic that may enter the food chain. Additionally, plastic pollution that are left unmanaged will adversely affect fisheries, tourism, and other key industries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, against this backdrop, ASEAN is committed to strengthening collective action to address the pressing issue of marine debris pollution. In 2017, our first event on this issue, the Phuket Conference on Combating Marine Debris, led to the adoption of the Bangkok Declaration on Combating Marine Debris in the ASEAN region. Subsequently, we adopted ASEAN Framework for Action on Marine Debris in 2019. Since then, ASEAN has continued to work closely with relevant experts and stakeholders in the region to further champion our efforts on marine debris, as well as rally strong support from partners, think tank, private sector, local communities. Today, we are taking one step further with the development of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris in ASEAN member states. We hope to further build the momentum against marine debris. At this juncture, allow me to share highlights of the Regional Action Plan, which offer 3 practical solutions along the plastic waste value chain. Firstly, we can work towards reducing input into the system. This can be achieved in a variety of ways, including through supporting industries in utilizing the reusable and recycled materials. Second, we need to improve solid waste management practices, which cover enhancing infrastructure and adopt an enhanced enforcement mechanism in waste disposal or collection. Lastly, we need to create a value in reusing waste by improving public perception as well as providing access to better technology and practices. These 3 solutions serve as a springboard for the development of the 14 regional actions that we set to be rolled out in the next 5 years, covering 4 main areas: policy support and planning, research, innovation and capacity building, private sector engagement, and public awareness, education, and outreach. The Regional Action Plan also reinforces and complement the national level policy program and initiative to address different elements of waste value chain. The implementation of this action plan will contribute to the ASEAN continued efforts to promote a transition to the circular economy, which is in line with ASEAN vision for sustainable recovery and resilient future. Beyond the circular economy initiative, from environmental perspective, particularly on plastic and marine debris, the development of the framework of circular economy for the ASEAN economic community is underway. This framework will allow ASEAN to approach circular economy from the whole of product cycle approach to in support of the objective of sustainable production, and consumption. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the successful implementation of the Regional Action Plan will require collective and coordinated action as well as partnership. Your participation in this launch demonstrates your commitment in addressing marine debris pollution, apart from showcasing our cooperation for shared solutions to the transboundary problem in the region. I invite you to take part in this major undertaking. Once again, I wish to commend the commitment of the World Bank and the interests of other partners to support the implementation of Regional Action Plan through the development of the Southeast Asia Program on Marine Debris, or CMAP. A regional intervention such as CMAP would be a strategic and effective move in supporting institutions and strengthening policy of plastic circularity, mobilizing private sector, and fostering innovation and investment, which are all in line with the ASEAN priority in the action plan. The Regional Action Plan is a testament of ASEAN collective and forward-looking response to the challenge of our region faced, with the aim to support regional policy, platform, and align resources to complement existing countries' action. These efforts also clearly reflect the spirit of this year's theme, We Care, We Prepare, We Prosper, under Brunei Darussalam's chairmanship of ASEAN this year. Through our shared vision and joint efforts, I'm confident that we can build stronger partnership and to work together towards a cleaner, healthier ocean. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for those strong remarks about our joint commitment. We will now see a short video which outline and summarize the elements of the Regional Action Plan.
The East Asia Pacific region has become a global hotspot for plastic waste. Recent studies have shown that around 243 million tons of waste, including 31.7 million tons of plastic waste, is generated in just 6 ASEAN member states. 53% of the waste generated in ASEAN is uncollected, and less than a quarter of the total waste collected in ASEAN is recycled. Recognizing this concern, in 2019, under the chairmanship of Thailand, 10 ASEAN member states came together to prepare the Bangkok Declaration to combat marine debris. And now, building on that declaration, the same countries have come together to prepare the Regional Action Plan for Combating Marine Debris, which is a vital document to guide ASEAN member states to create waves of change in the battle with marine debris. The goal of the Regional Action Plan is to drive coordination across borders to respond to the marine plastic pollution challenge. It is focused on reducing inputs into the system, enhancing collection and minimizing leakage, and creating value for waste reuse. And the plan builds on the 4 pillars from the ASEAN Framework of Action. Policy support and planning, including driving best practices for phasing out single-use plastics, packaging and labeling, and creating standards for waste trade and recycling. Research, innovation, and capacity building, including strengthening regional knowledge and data on waste and microplastics, and creating consistent approaches to training and collecting information. Public education and awareness, including approaches to drive behavior change and awareness for consumers on packaging and labels. And private sector engagement, including establishing regional platforms for knowledge, implementation support, and to drive innovation and investment. Driving collaboration across countries is at the heart of the Regional Action Plan for Combating Marine Debris, and will help build further momentum for everyone involved, the private sector, development partners, and communities, to deliver impact across ASEAN. Through the Regional Action Plan, we can help protect the vital marine environments that sustain us by coming together to rethink plastics, from their source to the seas that connect us all.
I hope that gave you a good summary of what the Regional Action Plan covers. The report is going live as we speak. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Victoria Quakwa, Regional Vice President of the East Asia and Pacific region of the World Bank, for her remarks.
Thank you, Anjali. Your Excellency Dato Lim Jokhoi, Secretary General of ASEAN, Your Excellency Minister Varawut Silpa Archer, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, representatives of ASEAN member states and development partners, good morning, good evening. It is a real pleasure to be able to join you today to celebrate the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris. While plastic brings value to our lives and the economy, our planet is increasingly drowning in plastic pollution, leaking from land to sea. This is one of the critical challenges of our times, with plastic waste accounting for 80% of all debris in the ocean, threatening biodiversity, communities, and economies. The surge of single-use plastics and personal protective equipment during the COVID-19 crisis has added further stress on infrastructure and the environment in our client countries. This is also an environmental challenge that knows no borders, with shared river systems and coastlines acting as conduit for plastic waste, which calls for the need for regional solutions. The good news is that here in Southeast Asia, we're seeing a groundswell of public support for urgent action against plastic pollution to protect communities, ecosystems, and economies. In this context, ASEAN and its member states are emerging as global champions in coming together to address the scourge of plastics choking rivers and seas across Southeast Asia. The Regional Action Plan we are launching today builds on the Bangkok Declaration on combating marine debris in the ASEAN region and the ASEAN Framework of Action on Marine Debris in 2019. We commend Thailand for their leadership role in this declaration, and the World Bank is honored to have supported ASEAN and Thailand in preparing this ASEAN Regional Action Plan that builds on it. The Regional Action Plan has been prepared through a year-long exercise involving several regional stakeholder consultation workshops with the 10 ASEAN member states. It prioritizes 14 regional actions that will support and align with countries working to reduce plastic wastage, enhance collection, and minimize leakage and create value for waste reuse. Implementing these regional actions will require coordinated partnerships at various levels, where country agendas are aligned with regional policies and supported by regional platforms, where public and private sectors come together in innovative financing approaches and business models, and where communities pilot and scale up customized solutions that also bring new green jobs. At the World Bank Group, we're proud to stand alongside ASEAN member states as a key partner to provide key analytics on plastic leakage, markets, and technologies, support policies that foster change towards plastic circularity and unlock private sector participation, and invest in sectoral and industry solutions that tackle plastics pollution from source to sea. Marine plastic pollution is a mega challenge that has worsened during our generation. With the right policies, investments, behaviors, and political will, we can move the needle within our generation. Tackling marine debris is about ensuring the future we want for our children, where we choose planet over plastic through deliberate actions and choices. We look forward to working closely with ASEAN governments and agencies, development partners, and the private sector to address marine plastic pollution across Southeast Asia. Together, we can create lasting waves of change to stop the rising sea of plastic and advance towards a circular economy to support people and the planet for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria, for your very inspiring words. I am now honored to introduce His Excellency Varawut Silpa Archa, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, for his remarks.
Your Excellency Dato' Lim Chok Hoi, Secretary General of ASEAN, Ms. Victoria Quakwa, Regional Vice President of East Asia and the Pacific region of the World Bank, representatives of ASEAN member states, chairs of relevant ASEAN sectoral bodies, Committee of Permanent Representatives to ASEAN, Dialogue Development Partners, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sawasdee krap. On behalf of the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of the Kingdom of Thailand, I'd like to take this opportunity to convey my sincere gratitude to all of you for joining this official launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris in the ASEAN member states 2021 to 2025, or the ASEAN RAP. Thailand is grateful to the World Bank and the ASEAN Secretariat for co-organizing this launch. We highly appreciate your continuous support and assistance throughout the entire process of developing this regional action plan. It has been 3.5 years since November 2017, when we first organized the ASEAN Conference on Reducing Marine Debris in the ASEAN region. The conference was our initial attempt to address these issues, and it was a great success. Over 250 participants came up with recommendations in 5 areas, including policy support and strengthening, capacity building, education, research and innovation, private sector engagement, and public awareness and outreach. Since then, ASEAN member states have been alerted and active in developing national policies, plans, strategies, and measures to tackle marine debris and plastic wastes, such as national waste management strategies, circular economy strategies, and many more. Later in 2019, based on the outcome of the special ASEAN ministerial meeting on marine debris, we successfully adopted the Bangkok Declaration on Combating Marine Debris in ASEAN region, together with the ASEAN Framework of Action on Marine Debris. Today, after 20 months of our arduous efforts and amidst struggle with the COVID-19 pandemic, the ASEAN Regional Action Plans on Combating Marine Debris in the ASEAN member states was finally adopted by the ASEAN Environment Ministers. So congratulations to all of us. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, combating plastic waste is becoming more and more challenging. However, the political commitment of the ASEAN member states provides excellent opportunities for taking necessary actions to address plastic waste and marine litters, problems on regional scales. At the same time, plastic waste policy implementation at national level can be harmonized within the ASEAN region. As we have noted from the video presentation, the ASEAN RAP proposes 14 actions in 4 priority areas, building on the ASEAN framework of action on marine debris, aiming to address a variety of plastic issues along the plastic value chain. Some actions require implementation by government agencies in charge of plastic waste management. Some actions call for direct engagement of private sector, such as investors and innovative companies. Some actions enhance the role of stakeholders across the plastic value chain, including consumers, fishing communities, and people in the informal waste sector. The issues of single-use plastic is significant because of the fact that they are used once or just briefly before they are thrown away. This generates tremendous amount of plastic wastes, which sadly eventually end up in the oceans. More efforts are needed to address the root cause of this problem, which will have to lead to permanent change in the consumption pattern. The global disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic has dramatically affected our way of life, not only people's health and livelihood that have been deteriorated, but also our environment. It is clear that there has been a significant increase in the amount of wastes from the single-use plastic in the medical services and online product deliveries. In this context, each action in the ASEAN RAP also includes the consideration of COVID-19 and future pandemics during implementation where relevant. as the implementation of the regional action plan involves not only ASEAN sectoral bodies and the government of ASEAN member states, but also various stakeholders within and outside the ASEAN region. Stakeholders' engagement and empowerment are crucial to promote sense of ownership as well as active participation. The ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment is the core coordinating body to facilitate the implementation of this regional action plan. The working group must identify and coordinate with relevant sectoral bodies, stakeholders, and partners, which include but not limited to ASEAN dialogue and development partners, international organizations, private sectors, civil societies, local governments, academia, and media. In recent years, various collaborative programs and activities have been conducted by ASEAN member states, with support from ASEAN dialogues and development partners. Thailand, as ASEAN member state and the chair of ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment, would like to express our sincere appreciation to all partners for all your support and collaboration in fight against marine debris in our region. Thailand would like to reiterate the need to further enhance and strengthen cooperation and support from all concerned ASEAN sectoral bodies, ASEAN dialogues and development partners, organizations, and the private sectors to implement this ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris for our clear ocean and sustainable marine resources and environment. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today marks the groundbreaking event in ASEAN for taking another important step in addressing marine debris. The ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris is not just another ASEAN policy document, but it also reflects our collective commitment and devotion to achieve the sustainable and prosperous ASEAN community. Ladies and gentlemen, for mankind to survive and live to see the next century, one must adapt to nature and not the other way around. So we must act together, and we must act now, not next month, not next year, but now. And this ASEAN Regional Action Plan will play an important role in helping ASEAN to achieve its vision to protect our precious marine environments for generations to come. Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
Excellency, thank you so much for your strong and very passionate words. We have heard from all the main speakers, and with all of them, it is the importance of partnership that comes out so strong. And I'm very pleased now to start to hear statements from several ASEAN sectoral bodies who are expressing their commitment and support to join this fight together. First, I would like to invite Dr. San U, Chair of the ASEAN Senior Officials of the Environment, or ASOEN. This group also represents the ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment, ASEAN Working Group on Environmentally Sustainable Cities, and the ASEAN Working Group on Chemicals and Waste. Dr. U.
Your Excellency, Varawut Silpa Archa, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand. Your Excellency, Dr. Lim Job Hoi, Secretary General of ASEAN. Ms. Victoria Quakwa, Vice President of the East Asia and Pacific region of the World Bank. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning and very good evening, and Mingalaba. It is indeed a privilege and honor for me to deliver the remark at this virtual launch of Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris in the ASEAN member states as the chairperson of ASOEN. I would like to express my deep appreciation to the World Bank and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand for co-organizing this important event. Plastic is an important product that is used throughout the economy and daily life. However, the way plastics are currently produced, used, and managed often does not reflect the economic benefits of an approach to the more circular economy and results in harm to the environment. Plastic is estimated to account for 80% of all marine debris in the oceans. Therefore, the majority of marine debris can be addressed through plastic value chains. In addition, The increased use of plastics during the COVID-19 pandemic has raised concerns that the crisis is leading to more plastic waste reaching the environment. The ongoing plastic pandemic is being seen as a setback to the momentum to address plastic pollution. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, marine plastic debris is a global problem. Therefore, international action will remain the key to tackling the most significant source of plastic litter in the oceans. With a view to curbing marine debris, several international conventions have been adopted. ASEAN member states recognize the urgent need to take action and have made notable progress in combating marine debris through the adoption of the Bangkok Declaration on Combating Marine Debris in the ASEAN region and ASEAN Framework of Action on Marine Debris. Building on the aim of the Bangkok Declaration, Regional Action Plan was developed through extensive stakeholder consultation with relevant experts and the ASEAN member states since October 2019 with the assistance of the World Bank. The goal of the Regional Action Plan is to enhance coordination at the regional and international levels for achieving sustainable management of coastal and marine environment through responding to marine plastic pollution. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the political commitment of the ASEAN member states to tackle this urgent issue provides huge opportunities for a common action to address plastic waste and marine litter on a big and regional scale, where plastic policy implementation and processes can be homogenized across the ASEAN member states, creating value for common markets, shared knowledge, and homogeneous tools, approaches, and technologies. In order to enable the possibility for coordinated action, there are 14 regional actions for the ASEAN member states in the Regional Action Plan, which aim at addressing a variety of plastic issues along the value chain. The ASEAN member states are already active in tackling marine debris through the development of national policy, strategies, and measures, such as national action plans to take actions on marine debris and plastic waste, national waste management strategies, and circular economy strategies. We recognize that marine plastic pollution poses a serious threat to food security, marine biodiversity, and environment, and is also a major concern regionally and globally. We believe that we must join hands to overcome this common threat to our planet through increased coordination and sharing of information and ideas to ensure a better future for our region with a pragmatic use of the Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris in the ASEAN member states. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stress that strengthening coordination and cooperation at the regional and international level is the key to achieving success in combating marine debris in our region. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate my sincere gratitude to you all for the opportunity to participate in this virtual launch of Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris in the ASEAN member states, an important regional platform for identifying collaborative pathways to further strengthen our ability to meet this common challenge of plastic debris in our oceans. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. San Woo. I would now like to invite Ms. Vu Thi Tu Quyen, Chair of ASEAN Consultative Committee on Standards and Quality, or ACCSQ, to make a statement. Over to you, Ms. Quyen.
Yeah, good morning and good evening, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of ASEAN Consultative Committee for Standards and Quality, ACCSQ, I would like to express my appreciation to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand for the kind invitation and opportunity given to ACCSQ to deliver a statement on the launching of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris in ASEAN member states. I would like to congratulate the ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment for the completion and adoption of the RAP by the ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on Environment, paving the way for the implementation of the ARP. The ACCSQ was established in 1992 to reduce, if not totally eliminate, technical barrier to trade both posed by the standards, technical regulation, and conformity assessment procedure. Conformity assessment procedure can include the testing, inspection, evaluation, examination, auditing, assessment, declaration, certification, accreditation, peer assessment, verification, and validation, mainly for products and goods. While tariff on goods has gone to zero, the greater focus now is elimination of non-tariff barriers, including technical barrier to trade or TBT. Unlike the European Union, who has a European standards, in ASEAN, we have not yet developed ASEAN regional standards. Instead, we discussed and harmonized the national standards of 10 AMS with international standards such as the ones of the ISO, IEC, and Codex, in which we are members. Efforts toward the harmonization of standards and technical regulations, development of mutual recognition of conformity assessment procedure or MRA, and harmonized regulatory regime are ongoing for priority product sectors, namely agro-based, automotive, healthcare, rubber-based, electrical and electronics, wood-based, building and construction materials, and recently digital trade. These efforts are contributing to reduction or elimination of TBT, supporting the facilitation of goods in the region, as well as the market access and sector integration. ACCSQ were identified in the RAP for the implementation phase of Component 1, policy support and planning, to contribute and supporting on two activities, namely, firstly, to develop a regional guidebook on standards for responsible plastic waste trade and sorted plastic waste and recycled plastic, with the output on development of regional standards for responsible plastic waste trade. And second is on elaboration of best practice manual for the development of minimum standards and technical requirements for plastic packaging and labeling, with the output preparation of guidelines on minimum standards for plastic packaging. Why the ACCSQ is not able was not able to commit taking the lead on the above mentioned activities. The ACCSQ has informed its concurrence on RAP. The ACCSQ would work with the ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment, who will be the lead in the above mentioned activities. As Excellency, His Excellency Warawut, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, talks about the harmonization among AMS in many aspects in the fight of marine debris for sustainable development and for the sake of our ocean, our planet, and our future generation. And ACCSQ has agreed on the implementation of the activities. A consultation between the ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment and ACCSQ be held to be there any across-sector collaboration for the RAP implementation. And for ACCSQ to have internal consultation prior to confirming the ACCSQ support and commitment to the effective implementation of RAP initiatives. In closing, the ACCSQ with expertise on standardization stand ready to share its knowledge and experience to contribute for the effective implementation of RAP. We wish all the success of the implementation of RAP and again express our sincerest congratulations on the launching of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris in ASEAN member states. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ms. Krian. I would now like to invite Ms. Nurani Haji Angas, Chair of ASEAN Sectoral Working Group on Fisheries. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Dr. Lim Jock Hoi, Secretary General of ASEAN, Your Excellency, Mr. Werawut Silpa Acha, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, Vice President of the East Asia and Pacific region of the World Bank, representatives from the ASEAN member countries, representatives from international and regional organizations, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning, very good evening, and Eid Mubarak to my peer colleague, Muslim colleague. It is a great honor to be given the opportunity to be here today for the virtual launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan, RAP, on combating marine debris. I'm happy to note that all countries has taken the necessary actions and efforts to contain the spread of pandemic COVID-19, which has affected all industries, including the fisheries and aquaculture industry in each step of the supply food chain, from fishing and aquaculture production to processing, logistics, and marketing. Therefore, during this difficult time, it is imperative for ASEAN to work together to make sure all goods and supply remain uninterrupted and the supply chain remain open and connected to, especially safeguard food security and livelihood of the people. The ASEAN Sectoral Working Group on Fisheries, ASWGFI, recognize the serious threats of marine debris on fishing sustainability of the region's fisheries resources and economic viability. The impact could injure and kill marine and coastal wildlife, damage and degrade habitats, cause economic loss to fishing and maritime industries, degrade the quality of life in coastal communities, and even threaten human health and safety. Therefore, ASWGFI has continuously worked together and put emphasis to sustainable fisheries production, taking into account of environmental protection and conservation. The ASWGFI is continually implementing strategic plan of action on ASEAN cooperation on fisheries 2021-2025, which reaffirms our commitment to the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted in 2015, particularly those that contribute to achieving sustainable development and management of fisheries. Furthermore, the strategic plan of action highlighted on increasing awareness on fisheries management to support the reduction of impacts of aquatic pollution and marine debris, including abandoned, lost of or otherwise discarded fishing gear, ALDFG, and microplastics, microbeads on fisheries and aquaculture. Addressing marine debris is a complex task that requires the engagement of multiple stakeholders, including government, local, regional, and international community and organizations. Marine debris is preventable through increased public awareness, changing individuals' behaviors, and movement towards an economy of reduced pollution and waste. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm certain with the launching of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan RAP on combating marine debris in ASEAN member states could further mainstream multi-sectoral policy measures to address marine debris in national and ASEAN's development agenda and priorities. I'm sure it could strengthen regional, national, and local capacities to develop and implement national action plans and initiatives. Before I end this statement, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the ASEAN member states, ASEAN Secretariat, ASEAN strategic and dialogue partners, and international organizations for the endless support throughout the implementation of our projects and programs. This portrays our strong commitment and concerted effort in ensuring long-term food security and improved livelihoods of our farmers and fishermen in the region, contributing to our economic growth. It's been a pleasure being with you all of you today. Thank you for your kind attention and I hope to see you again in the near future. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Angas. I would now like to invite Dato Mohammed Radi bin Abdul Razak, representing the chair of ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, or ACC MSME. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Anjali. Good morning and good evening to all of you. His Excellency Warud Silpa Archa, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, His Excellency Datuk Lim Jock Hoi, Secretary General of ASEAN, Ms. Victoria Quakwa, Vice President of the East Asia and Pacific region of the World Bank, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for having me as part of the auspicious occasion today. On behalf of the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, I would like to congratulate the ASEAN senior officials on environment and the ASEAN Working Group on Coastal and Marine Environment under the leadership of Thailand on the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris today. Indeed, as pointed out in the action plan, modernization and urbanization comes at a cost. If left unchecked, this trend would have severe impact to our sustainability and to the future generation. The action plan elaborated that a collective effort among the stakeholders across the plastic value chain is needed to address this issue and further elucidate the role of the stakeholders can play, including the micro, small and medium enterprises or the MSMEs. For your information, the MSMEs make up a significant share of establishments in ASEAN. There are over 70 million MSMEs throughout the region, which contributes to a significant share of total establishments in each AMS, ranging between 97% and 99%. Given their widespread presence, they have the potential to be the agent of change, affecting positive impact to this cause. Smes work resonates with the actions identified through the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris. Through the ASEAN Strategic Action Plan on SME Development 2016-2025, the ASME aims to promote innovation as a key competitive advantage among the MSMEs, including through the adoption of green technologies and encouraging initiatives on green enterprises. As an example, recently, the ASME produced a policy toolkit titled Facilitating the Green Transitions for ASEAN SMEs, targeted to ASEAN policymakers in approaching greening initiatives for SMEs. It recognizes the fact that for SMEs, adopting environmentally friendly practices may appear to be additional, unnecessary investment that does not translate to tangible benefits. The policy toolkit helps provide a narrative that changes the perceptions of SMEs towards greening practices, helping them to see that the commercial benefits and new market opportunities presented through such practices. Given the above, on behalf of the ASME, I am pleased to express our support on the action plan and look forward to a close collaborations in moving forward. Thank you for having me here, and I wish everyone a fruitful discussion today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Razak. We will now hear remarks from the Committee of Permanent Representatives to the ASEAN. I would like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Ade Sarwono, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Indonesia to the ASEAN.
Thank you very much. Very good morning. First, I'd like to acknowledge the Honorable Minister of Natural Resource and Environment of Thailand, Your Excellency Mr. Varawut Silpa Archa, the Secretary General of ASEAN, Excellency Datuk Lim Jock Hoi, and also Ms. Victoria Quakwa, Vice President of East Asia and Pacific Region of the World Bank. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity. Definitely, Indonesia welcomed the launching of Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris that will strengthen the ASEAN effort in combating marine debris and improve the livelihood of coastal community. And I appreciate very much the role of Thailand, especially in ASEAN Senior Official on Environment, for taking a lead in developing the draft RAP CMD, which will serve as an important guiding document for ASEAN collective effort in reducing marine debris in the region. Indonesia also takes note that this draft was developed based on the input from 3 consultation workshops with AMS, relevant stakeholders, and ASEAN sectoral bodies, many of whom are present today. It underlines the fact that the works should be a comprehensive one. This issue of marine plastic is become more and more pressing, especially today when we still in the pandemic situation. In fact, based on some reading that I read, that there's increasing of using of plastic for plastic waste, especially for now we cannot go to restaurants, so many have to have order the food by takeaway. So there's more plastic packaging. In fact, this year probably there will be increase of plastic packaging for around 5.5%. So this is a challenge. And in fact, also in medical, due to the pandemic, we used to use masks and as well as gloves. And there's also a tendency, there's increasing of this waste from the medical. And again, when I read in some news, there is use of 129 billion face masks and 65 billion gloves with that involve plastic. So it is important now that our region have to address this, how in addressing to reduce of plastic, and that will be go to the sea. So it's urgent, and we have to coordinate among us. And I fully agree what Secretary General of ASEAN mentioned, that important to engage the private sector. There's the role of private sector in reducing this single use of plastic. Lastly, while we also already focus on our region in ASEAN, we have also to think how we can further engage our partners. 3 years ago, in East Asia Summit, we agree on a leader statement on combating marine plastic debris. And also, there is a discussion in this leader statement to develop a wider region plan of action. So I think this plan of action that being developed now will be become the basis for our engagement with our ASEAN partners in the wider region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I am now very pleased to invite His Excellency Ambassador Lee Bangkok, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Singapore to the ASEAN.
A very good morning to all colleagues. Thank you to Minister Silpa Archa for your opening remarks. Greetings to my SecGen, Datuk Lim Jock Hoi, and a warm welcome to an ASEAN event to Madam Vice President for East and Asia Pacific of the World Bank. Singapore is very pleased to welcome the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris. Marine debris pollution has a detrimental impact on the marine environment and biodiversity, as well as the livelihoods of coastal communities. Marine plastic debris may also contaminate the food chain, which could impact human health and well-being. As a small island state, Singapore's coastal and marine environment is vitally important in supporting the biodiversity, habitat protection, livability, and development of our country. We share the concerns of our fellow ASEAN member states on the environmental impact of marine debris, whose transboundary nature requires collective and urgent action. To this end, Singapore strongly supports ASEAN's efforts to address the challenge of marine debris, in line with the sentiments expressed by our leaders in the 2018 EAS Leader Statement on Combating Marine Plastic Debris and the seminal 2019 Bangkok Declaration on Combating Marine Debris in the ASEAN region. This ASEAN Regional Action Plan marks a crucial step forward in our efforts. The regional actions outlined in the plan will enhance ASEAN's collective and individual capabilities to address marine debris pollution through both upstream and downstream measures for the benefit of ASEAN citizens and our shared environment. Singapore would like to take this opportunity to thank Thailand for its leadership in championing regional cooperation on this issue. We are also grateful to ASEC and the World Bank Group for your instrumental support in facilitating the development of the Regional Action Plan. Singapore looks forward to furthering our cooperation with ASEAN member states in addressing the issue of marine debris in our region. And on a personal note, I'm very glad that we are adopting this Regional Action Plan. We have adopted the Regional Action Plan and we are now going to implement it. A group of us, permanent representatives in Jakarta, took part in a coastal cleaning before the pandemic. Gosh, the magnitude of the problem is serious. We really need to tackle this. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Excellency. And no doubt this is all an issue that we work on individually and collectively. As part of the partnership, we will now have videos and live remarks from representatives from bilateral agencies and development partners. Starting first with countries, we will first hear a pre-recorded video by His Excellency Igor Briesman, Ambassador of the EU to the ASEAN.
His Excellency Dato Lim Jock Hoi, Secretary General of ASEAN, Victoria Quakwa, the World Bank Regional Vice President for East Asia and the Pacific, Excellency Varawat Silparcha, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, attendees from the public sector, private sector and development partners of ASEAN. Good morning from Jakarta, Indonesia. It is an honor to be here today in the virtual lounge of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for Combating Marine Debris. According to the UN Environment, plastics make up 60 to 80% of total marine litter. And if current trend continues, by 2050, our oceans will contain more plastic than fish. These numbers call for urgent action. The ASEAN Regional Action Plan for Combating Marine Debris is a testament to ASEAN's commitment in responding to this issue. Plastic pollution is a transboundary problem that requires global efforts. In 2018, the EU and ASEAN have identified the issue of marine litter as one of the areas for enhanced cooperation, and through our dialogue instrument, eReady, launched the Circular Economy Initiative. The EU has taken a strong stand on waste management and circular economy. As part of the EU Green Deal and the EU strategy for plastics in a circular economy, the EU banned certain single plastic products, worked with the private sector and supported innovation and investments so that all plastic packaging placed on the EU market is reusable and recyclable by 2030. The European Union is committed to work with ASEAN and other regions in shifting towards a circular economy for plastics. Circular economy is often thought of as an approach to waste management and recycling, but it is much more than that. Circular economy is about deriving greater value from resources and materials, which in turn is addressing the upstream part of the plastic life cycle and the issue of marine debris. In 2019, we started the implementation of the Rethinking Plastics project in East and Southeast Asia to further support ASEAN's transition towards a circular economy for plastics and to reduce plastic waste leakage into the sea. A successful shift to a low carbon and a more circular economy depends on not only regulations and policies, but also on the shift in how our businesses work and the way of life of our citizens and customers. The Green Tech component of eReady program focuses on technology-based cooperation and transfer of green technologies. And since 2007, the EU Switch Asia program has enabled the EU to collaborate with ASEAN partners to support sustainable consumption and production and the transition to a low-carbon, resource-efficient and circular economy, whilst promoting more sustainable supply chains and products between Asia and Europe. Mainstreaming circular economy principles and promoting sustainable consumption and production in ASEAN will support socio-economic growth and resilience to move towards a pollution-free and sustainable ASEAN community. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, climate change is a shared global challenge. As ASEAN's strategic partner, the EU is committed to work with ASEAN to fight climate change and protect our environment. So let me welcome once again the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for Combating Marine Debris and ensure you of our continued support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. We will now hear from a pre-recorded video by Ms. Julia Schult, First Secretary, ASEAN Affairs from the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany.
3 years ago, I started diving in Indonesia, and I absolutely fell in love with the underwater world here. But when I first saw a little clownfish nibble on a piece of plastic, I was heartbroken. That's why I'm particularly proud that Germany supports ASEAN in its fight against marine debris through the ASEAN Framework of Action and now the Regional Action Plan on Combating Marine Debris. Our 3 projects, Reduce, Reuse, Recycle, to protect the marine environment and coral reefs, Collaborative Action for Single-Use Plastic Prevention in Southeast Asia, and together with the EU, Rethinking Plastic, support ASEAN in its endeavors to tackle this major global challenge. With these 3 projects, we work together with the ASEAN Secretariat and the member states, such as Indonesia, the Philippines, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Together, we develop mechanisms to prevent the use of single-use plastics already upstream, such as product redesign. We provide circular economy solutions to marine litter, combined with capacity building, dialogues, awareness raising. And apart from that, Germany implements several bilateral projects on solid waste management and circular economies approaches. We are very much looking forward to the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris, and of course to further extensive cooperation with ASEAN in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schulte. Now we will hear from a pre-recorded video by His Excellency Kondo Tomohiro, Vice Minister for Global Environmental Affairs, Ministry of the Environment, Japan.
Participants from ASEAN member nation, good morning. I am Kondo Tomohiro, Vice Minister for Global Environmental Affairs of the Ministry of the Environment, Japan. First of all, I would like to congratulate on launching the ASEAN Regional Action Plan, and let me say a few words to express our welcome. It is to be noted that the ASEAN member states have tackled the serious issue of marine plastic litter from early on. And I would like to express my appreciation and respect for the continued commitment and actions of ASEAN member states, such as formulation of National Action Plan or strategies and ASEAN Framework of Action on Marine Debris. In order to assist ASEAN's actions, Japan proposed the ASEAN Plus 3 Marine Plastic Debris Cooperation Action Initiative in 2018 and has been promoting various cooperation, such as development of national action plans of each country, capacity building of waste management and marine monitoring. Now, we are preparing the phase 2 cooperation projects utilizing Japan-ASEAN Integration Fund, JIFE, and the Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris, RKCMPD, and the area is expanding its network and cooperation. We hope that you can find your progress and good practices in ASEAN Plus 3 countries to achieve ASEAN Regional Action Plan. And also, the Osaka Blue Ocean Vision, which was proposed at the occasion of G20 Summit in 2019, has been shared with as many as 86 countries and regions today, including the ASEAN member states. I hope that we cooperate and accelerate marine plastic litter reduction efforts in ASEAN region and the world. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. We will now hear a pre-recorded video by His Excellency Morten Hugland, Ambassador of Norway to the ASEAN.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me on behalf of Norway to give this message at the launching of the Regional Action Plan to combat marine debris. Congratulations to ASEAN for adopting this plan and show leadership on the very important issue of marine littering. To solve this issue, action is needed from everyone. We must create new partnerships and implement innovative solutions. Norway is proud to work with ASEAN to combat marine debris. It is one of our priority areas in our partnership and will remain so. We are currently working to expand our activities, including cooperation on how to handle medical waste, an issue which has become urgent due to the ongoing pandemic. New solutions and innovative approaches are needed. Norway has supported innovation competitions in ASEAN on new solutions to combat marine debris. This is both beneficial to the environment and at the same time it gives support to talented entrepreneurs in the region. We look forward to continue working together to end plastic pollution in support of this action plan.
Thank you, Excellency. Now we will have videos and live remarks from development partners. Going alphabetically by organization, we will first hear a pre-recorded video from Deborah Robertson, Environmental Specialist from the Asian Development Bank.
Excellencies, representatives from ASEAN, World Bank colleagues, and all other distinguished participants on this call, good day. My name is Deborah Robertson. I'm an environment specialist at the Asian Development Bank. I am honoured to support the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan for combating marine debris. We would like to congratulate the countries of ASEAN on yet another significant milestone since developing the framework of action on marine debris. The ocean's rapidly declining health from pollution, nature loss, and climate change presents a clear case for urgent and coordinated action. We believe ASEAN's Regional Action Plan will enhance a much-needed integrated approach to reduce plastic waste and pollution and to help preserve the region's critical coastal and marine ecosystems, livelihoods, and economies. We are ready to support this endeavour, in particular through our project on promoting action on plastic pollution from source to sea in Asia and the Pacific. This is a flagship program under ADB's Healthy Oceans Action Plan. The key components of this project will support implementation of ASEAN's Regional Action Plan, including through regional level knowledge products, dialogues, trainings, and knowledge sharing activities, focused for Southeast Asia, including on engaging the private sector, investment opportunities and financing mechanisms, and policy and regulatory measures, such as market-based instruments, standards, and also industry design guides. ADB will also be supporting actions to combat marine debris through the ASEAN Catalytic Green Finance Facility, which is an ASEAN Infrastructure Fund initiative supporting governments to prepare and finance projects that promote environmental sustainability and contribute to climate change goals. Again, congratulations, and thank you for the opportunity to show our support to ASEAN.
Thank you, Deborah. Now we will hear from, through a pre-recorded video by Maeve Nightingale, Senior Program Coordinator, Coastal and Marine from the IUCN Asia Regional Office.
Congratulations on the launching of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on Marine Debris, such an important milestone following the Bangkok Declaration. IUCN is proud to be working with the ASEAN community in tackling this very complex issue of marine plastics in our environment. And over the last 2 to 3 years, we've been working with all of you, and it's so good to see now this very concrete structure that we can continue to collaborate under. Of the 4 key components, IUCN is working very, very strongly on 3 of those. So starting with the policy, we initiated our work looking at the national policy arrangements in both Vietnam and Thailand for looking at waste management and particularly plastic scrap management. Today we're working specifically in Vietnam on the EPR policy, the government's priority policy for tackling this issue. But perhaps most significantly, IUCN has contributed the National Hotspot Assessment Framework, which has allowed us to take a high-level look in 2 countries at exactly where the major leakage issues are, from the point of view of the types of plastics, the industries we need to be working closely with, the policy interventions, and particularly the waste management systems on the ground. And on the ground, we've also been investing in pilot projects that improve circularity. This is the key strategy for a lot of our work on the ground, is looking at where are the bottlenecks in the circular system, and how do we improve those, that we can actually work with communities, local government, and achieve tangible outputs in terms of reducing leakage in the environment. So it'll be a great pleasure to be part of this community moving forward. We look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you, Maeve. It is now my pleasure to introduce Kakuko Nagatani Yoshida, Regional Coordinator for Chemicals, Waste and Air Quality, Asia and Pacific Office, United Nations Environment Programme, for her remarks.
Thank you. Good morning from Bangkok, ladies and gentlemen, and partners in ASEAN community for our common mission toward the pollution-free planet. The United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, expresses our support for the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris in ASEAN member states 2021 to 2025 and its implementation. As a UN agency with mission to provide leadership and encourage partnership in caring for the environment, UNEP is very encouraged by this regional action plan that embraces an approach to a circular economy. Marine debris is also a land issue, and therefore waste collection rate in ASEAN currently, which is less than a half, must improve drastically and minimize waste leakage, while reducing input of unnecessary plastic production, sale, and use. But at the same time, we must recognize voluntary effort made by businesses across ASEAN community and need to harness that good effort further. UNEP hosts intergovernmental bodies such as the Coordinating Body on the Seas of East Asia, COPSI, with own regional action plans on marine litter. UNEP also implements regional flagship projects such as Japan-supported countermeasure and Sweden-funded Sea Circular, all to reduce plastic wastage and leakage to waterways and rivers. Globally, UNEP is supporting governments in the implementation of UN Environment Assembly Resolution 4/6 on marine plastic litter and microplastics, including the upcoming Ministerial Conference on Marine Litter and Plastic Pollution, which will be held on the 1st to 2nd of September this year. UNEP stands ready to support ASEAN member states and work with its development partners and intergovernmental bodies in the region to implement this regional action plan. Let us leverage existing initiative and mechanism to overcome financial, technical, and capacity building and knowledge barriers. And let us strengthen coordination across ASEAN and stakeholders to beat plastic pollution and marine debris. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kakuko. Now we will hear from Janet Salem, Economic Affairs Officer, Circular Economy, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, UNESCAP.
Thank you very much, Anjali. So I would like to start by expressing my appreciation to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, the ASEAN Secretariat, and the World Bank for the opportunity to join the launch of the Regional Action Plan to combat marine debris. So I'm working with the UN Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, and we're supportive of all four components of the framework. So I'd like to highlight some particular areas where we would like to provide support for implementation. In terms of capacity building, we believe that this should be free and available anytime and self-paced so that anyone can do it in their time. So we are offering an e-learning course on combating marine debris free of charge for any stakeholder who wants to learn how to measure, monitor, and prevent plastic pollution. In terms of policy support and planning components of the framework, we believe that cities and local governments are really at the front lines of the fight against marine debris. So we are working with cities to develop city-level action plans tailored to their unique circumstances of plastic pollution, as well as their demographics and geography. But to support those city-level action plans, we believe that we've had to make investments in innovation, in research innovation to support city-level action plans. So in terms of monitoring the level of marine debris, plastic pollution, we believe that monitoring should be low cost, regular, and automatic. So we are developing a digital tool that uses satellite data, remote sensing, and artificial intelligence to keep an eye on the plastic pollution, make it easier to know where we stand. We believe cities also need to know where that plastic pollution is coming from so that their city action plans can be tailored to those specific causes. So we are using the plastic pollution calculator from the International Solid Waste Association and the University of Leeds to answer questions like, which plastic products are ending up in the water, and where in the plastic pollution management chain did it leak out into the water? And lastly, where are the origins of those plastics? Is it residential, retail, and so forth? And that way we can really target where those hotspots are coming from and address the plastic pollution. And we hope that we want to work with more ASEAN cities, but we also hope that they are using complementary methodologies, or similar methodologies, so that we can also start to benchmark between cities and share experiences. Lastly, in terms of regional cooperation and policy dialogue, we provide opportunities in our regional dialogues to discuss any issues that emerge. And we have fora such as the UN Decade of Action on Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, where we can provide this support. Thank you very much, Anjali, and we look forward to supporting the ASEAN Secretariat.
Thank you, Janet. And finally, we will now hear from a pre-recorded video by Jaslyn Lee, Southeast Asia Regional Coordinator, Circular Economy for Plastics at the WWF.
Excellencies, ministers, partners, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jaslyn, the Southeast Asia EPR Regional Coordinator for WWF. Addressing plastic pollution is no longer a choice, and it is affecting each and every one of us, especially during a pandemic lockdown where more people opt for food and e-commerce delivery due to the health and safety concern. According to the Thailand Environment Institute, the plastic waste has increased from 1,500 tons to 6,300 tons per day last year, owing to soaring home deliveries of food. The waste management and recycling system is unable to keep up with the increasing plastics and packaging waste generation. To achieve the vision of no plastics in nature by 2030, WWF works with global partners, governments, industry players, on policies, extended producer responsibility schemes, and pilot projects. As more industry players are anticipating and advocating for the adoption of EPR scheme on national level, a circular economy can only happen by making circularity in businesses large and small a norm, and by having policymakers to take the leadership to outline a mandatory national EPR scheme that prompts producers to be more accountable for their plastics products and their packaging as well. Plastic pollution is a global transboundary and cross-sectoral problem. An effective global response to this crisis requires a comprehensive international treaty with clear obligations and responsibilities to prevent and control plastic pollution. WWF encourages countries to express their support for the immediate start of a negotiation at the UNIA 5 for a new global treaty to combat marine plastic pollution. I would like to take this opportunity to comment on the ASEAN member states and the World Bank for the launch of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan on combating marine debris. And we look forward to supporting the implementation of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan, moving forward through a collective action and work with the ASEAN member states to combat marine debris on regional as well as on the national level. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaslyn. You have now heard many strong statements from development and dialogue partners on their expressed intent to support the ASEAN member states as well as the ASEAN Secretariat in looking at ways to combat plastic pollution. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the close, near the close of this virtual event. I would now like to invite Mr. Poongboon Pongthong, representatives of ASEAN Thailand, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, Thailand.
Dato Lim Chok Hoi, Secretariat General of ASEAN, Miss Victoria Quakwa, Vice President of the East and Asia Pacific of the World Bank, Representative of ASEAN Member States, Chair of relevant ASEAN sectoral body, Committee of Permanent Representative to ASEAN Dialogue and Development Partners, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, Thailand, I would like to thank you all for joining this important event. Your present as well as your remark and statement today show strong commitment to working towards together combating marine debris. The aim of this event is not only to celebrate the successful development of the regional action plan that has been adopted by the Ministry of 10 ASEAN member states, but also to mark an important milestone on the pathway of addressing this critical regional challenge. Today, we have heard many statements on voluntary commitment to collectively address marine debris, which is now more than ever a major global concern. This regional action plan has already identified 14 actions to reduce plastic input into the ocean. This action includes enhancing collection, minimizing leakage, and creating value of waste reuse. This regional action plan launch reiterate that it is now time to put this plan into action. I encourage us all to implement this action plan. I would like to conclude my remark by thanking ASEAN member states, the World Bank, ASEAN Secretariat, and dialogue partner for their support and contribution. Our effort to combat marine debris has just begun, and I am sure that the today launch will take us closer to the day when we achieve plastic-free ocean in the region. With this, I declare the event closed. Thank you very much, and please stay safe. สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much, Mr. Pong Kong. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this event. And as Mr. Pong Kong said, this represents a continuation of the efforts made by the ASEAN member states. We would like to thank all the distinguished speakers representing the ASEAN sectoral bodies, permanent representatives to the ASEAN, dialogue partners, and development partners. The link to the report can be found on this website. And please go ahead to download it and read it in detail. We will all be working together in a partnership to help implement these regional actions. Thank you, good afternoon, good day, and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anjali.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.